Yeah, well, Glenn, Game of Arms is it's 5 teams. Kansas City, which is my team, of course, Louisiana, Erie, Pennsylvania, New York, and California, the guys up in NorCal. And we all compete against each other. The guys in each team, they train together. And it's a real gig, you know. I mean, the arm wrestling is all real. And they're following our lives and what we do. And it's been a lot of fun, you know, working with really talented people.
AMC is such a big platform for you guys. Why do you think they decided that the sport of arm wrestling was compelling enough to focus an entire series around?
Well, arm wrestling everyone has done, and I think what really was a bonus for my sport was the guys that were bringing the package to AMC, Matt Renner, Ethan Prochnick, of course the guys that created Deadliest Catch, and their new CEO, Dan Alani, who's like the mega agent. They had the concept, they wanted to keep it real, unscripted, and I've known about this project for almost 3 years that we've been in contact. I've just been sitting on it, not telling any friends and family. Well, some of my family members knew about it, but I think they saw in the dailies and in the things that they were doing with the project early on that it might be a winner because it was real.
What was it like when they came to you? Because you're clearly one of the key guys in the show, legend in the sport. What was the process like when they came to you as far as the timeline goes from then until the season premiere last Tuesday night?
Well, it's been a long process, 2 years. You know, we'd be in contact, you know, maybe once a month. Then it got to every other week, and then it got to weekly. And then when we started shooting in November, it was like I had like 4 days notice. We need you. We're going to start shooting. And then everything just shut down. So for the last 4.5 months, I've been nonstop working the project.
What's it like to be kind of one of the key guys? I mean, you're one of the go-to guys. You hear your voice, you see your face in almost everything that they do as far as promoting the show. To be such a key cog in it, what's that experience been like for you?
It's really been simple. I mean, I've been in the business since the early '80s, you know, and as far as show business, however you want to put it. But I found this to be the easiest thing I've ever done because I've just been myself. There's no lines to read, there's no markers or placements or anything. It's just raw. Just be yourself. You can't mess that up.
Pretty authentic then, because you hear about these reality shows and, oh, you know, that was totally scripted, that
right.
was not exactly how it was, we had to film it differently, and that's not how it necessarily turned out. But I imagine because of the nature of the competition, you guys have it as authentic as you could possibly get.
Well, it's real. It's 110% real. I mean, there's 25 cast members. We're all alpha males. And no one, in my sport, arm wrestling, everyone is greedy. It's a thing that we take when we're at the table competing. So it's, you know, everyone has their different personality, and that's what you see on the show.
You're one of, I believe, co-captains?
Yeah, I'm a co-captain for the team Kansas City.
How'd you get hooked up with Kansas City? Because obviously it's here in the Midwest, which is nice, but you're kind of a Fort Wayne guy.
Yeah, Fort Wayne, all my children are here in Fort Wayne. I have one child in Grand Rapids with a grandson. But myself, my second home is in Kansas City. Well, it's actually just outside of Kansas City. And that's like where it's my respite. You know, I can go and relax there and think arm wrestling. You know, I've coached a lot of athletes where I stay down there from all over the world. And it's just Game of Arms brought me back there for this long period of stay. Usually it's a weekend or maybe 5 days, but now it's been going on 5-month now stay. So really, it's my home away from home.
Last time we talked to you, you'd won 17 world titles.
Yeah.
You just won the Schwarzenegger for the 4th time. That was 2 years ago. What kind of events and what kind of competitions have you done since then, since we last talked to you?
Well, right now I sit on we have a new league that's coming up. Actually, AMC has partnered with the World Arm Wrestling League. It's WALunderground.com. And we just had a big show in Columbus following the Arnold. And we gave away about $40,000 to arm wrestlers. It's probably one of the toughest shows I've seen in the last couple of years in the States. It's kind of like it's going with the show, you know, so that people can see the real gritty. It's not that sterile situation of like a national or world championships that's usually in a ballroom at a hotel. It's more of a gritty, underground feel to it. It's really hot.
As far as the Game of Arms show, every week it's a team traveling to another team out of these 5 teams. So what's the competition like? Because you know who you're going to be facing when you get there. And what's the motivation, I guess I should say, behind it? Because I know you guys, once you step in and get ready to wrestle somebody, the adrenaline obviously is through the roof. But what's the motivation? What's the long-term goal of the show in terms of the competition?
As far as the show and the competition, I mean, there's no arm wrestler that wants to lose a match, you know. Most of us guys, we hate to lose more than we like to win. So what happens at the table happens at the table, and it stays there, you know. We're a brotherhood, brothers in arms, pretty much. An overused cliche, but that's what we are. And I think it all plays out on the show. No spoilers here.
Okay. For you being so established as far as the sport goes, not only here in the United States but internationally, what kind of wisdom do you impart on some of these other guys that are earlier in their career, a little more raw and don't have maybe the technique or the background that you have?
What I pass on to guys is pretty much the mental aspect of it. I mean, there are positionings and techniques that I have down pat, but I usually take an athlete from his basis and see that piece of clay and then mold it. The most important thing for me at this point, because I'm not a banger like I used to be. I don't train. I show up at some of these national championships and world championships, and I've been getting lucky for like the last 5 years because I don't have time to train. I work, you know, long hours and trying to be a good parent and all the goodies in life. And so arm wrestling has really taken a back seat to me. But when the show came calling, of course I took the opportunity to hop in there and bang with these guys.
Is that what you mean when you say you're not a just add water arm wrestler anymore?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you have to put out if you wanna ascend. For
you, where does this rank in terms of your career in this sport? You started arm wrestling in 1980, I believe.
Yeah, 79, 80, my first competition.
So where does this rank? I mean, obviously competition-wise, you've won, you know, the Schwarzeneggers, you've won 17 international titles, but because of the visibility of this show, where does this rank?
This is pretty high up there, and it's not just about Cobra Rhodes, it's about my sport, you know. I mean, myself and a lot of other athletes before me have, I mean, the sport is our lives. So, I mean, besides our family, but I mean, we're pretty dedicated to what we do. And all we've had for years is each other, pretty much. Now, the masses can see these guys and see what it takes to achieve their goals.
What's your history here in Fort Wayne? Were you born in Fort Wayne?
No, I'm originally born in I'm born in Rhode Island. I'm a New Englander.
Okay.
But
how did Fort Wayne come to be home?
Well, my compass broke, and I ended up here about 21 years ago. Then I moved away down to Louisiana, and my parents retired, and they were down there, and then they went on to a better place, and I came back up here with my ex-wife, and here I am, Fort Wayne, Indiana. It's what I call home.
So how long would you say you've called Fort Wayne home?
I've called Fort Wayne home for 20 years.
And what do you do in Fort Wayne when you're not competing in arm wrestling?
Well, I work at APR, Allen Plastics, and thank them very much, Mark and Dan Allen. They gave me the time off work to shoot season 1. And pretty much try to parent. I hang out at Lee Brothers Submission Academy, work with some of the mixed martial artists. I'm sure you're familiar with Anthony Lapsley. He's won a world title, King of the Cage here. I started Anthony's career in mixed martial arts. He was a Snyder graduate, state champion wrestler. And that's pretty much it. Go and get my beat-up body worked on at Sport 1, of course. You always see me wearing Sport 1 gear. Dr. William Berghoff's been a supporter of mine since, beginning of this century. He's been backing me up. Sport 1 and CN Sounds, those are my guys here in Fort Wayne.
As far as the show goes, when did you start taping? How long did the taping process take, and when did you finish for this season?
We started taping in the first week of November, and we're still taping. We shot in Fort Wayne yesterday, actually.
As a part of, like, your backstory, or your home story?
No, one of the episodes that's up and coming. I mean, we're still shooting the show. We've had all the rap, all the competitions have taken place, but we're still putting the show together.
So that's kind of a long time commitment, because you see some of these reality shows and it takes them 2.5 weeks, but I imagine because of the travel and the competition factor, gosh, this has been going on for 3-4 months now.
Yeah, it has. But I mean, arm wrestling is a collision sport. The human body's not made for it. So the constant grind of arm wrestling, they found out early that they had to give the athletes some rest in between times so that they could heal up. But a lot of times you don't get to catch up. You know, when I've had more broken toes than arm injuries because it's a collision sport. When your body's going 120 miles an hour and you have to stop to make another move, things snap and pop, you know. You blow out your knee, you blow out your ankle, whatever. People say, oh, you're arm wrestling. How do you hurt that? It happens. I mean, the sport, from your toenails to the top of your head, you're using every bit of energy, and it's all coming out of your hand. So something's going to go at times.
For you, what's the one thing that you would want somebody who views the show to take away from it, just in general as a viewer?
As a viewer, I think everyone is... There's 25 cast members. I think a lot of people will identify with different people. There's going to be something in that person that reminds them of themselves, or someone that they care about, or someone that they know at work. There's 25 cast members, and all the guys, they're all real cats. You know, what you see is what you get. You know, there's no script. I mean, I was through the whole process, and the integrity of the show is spot on. It's real. I mean, the locations where we shoot, I've arm wrestled all over the world. I've arm wrestled in bar rooms. I've arm wrestled at family reunions. I've arm wrestled, you name it. Some places I won't say here. You know what I mean? But it's so raw. It's so real. What I want people to take away from the show is pretty good show. That's a great question, because I've never thought of, haven't thought of the show as a show. Mm-hmm. You know, when the camera's on, I don't think of the camera on. I'm just myself, so it's an easy gig, man, being yourself.
Final question, what is, for you, the most rewarding part of doing all this?
The most rewarding part of doing the show is, I think, to be an ambassador for my sport. There are a lot of people have ideas of what is a professional arm wrestler, what is a strong man. Some people don't know that arm wrestling exists, you know, but I mean, it does. And I think people will find that out. I think the education that we're a real sport, real athletes that train like any other. A lot of guys harder than any other athletes. I mean, the beating that your body takes, it's not a lot of fun, but you learn to eat pain and achieve your goals.